प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी इंडोनेशिया में है, उनका भव्य तरीके से स्वागत किया गया इंडोनेशिया में, वहां पे डायस्पोरा की तरफ से। और आप अगर देख पाए, ये जो लाइव तस्वीरें आ रही है, एक गार्ड ऑफ ऑनर प्रधानमंत्री को मिलता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। और जिस तरीके से अभी ईस्ट एशिया जो समिट होने वाली है, उसमें अभी हिस्सेदारी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की होगी। और बाद में बताया जा रहा है कि वो दिल्ली के लिए रवाना हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि G20 की समिट है।
Istirahat itu, Pak.
इस वक्त जोको विडोडो साहब और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी दोनों ही, और यहां से अब आसियान इंडिया शिखर सम्मेलन की शुरुआत होने वाली है। और यह सम्मेलन अपने आप में बेहद महत्वपूर्ण, क्योंकि यहां से आगे अब दोस्ती को कैसे आगे बढ़ाया जाए, कम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का जो रास्ता तैयार किया है उस पर आगे कैसे बढ़ाया जाए, उस दिशा में काफी ये महत्वपूर्ण होने वाला है। और ये अपने आप में दिखाता है कि यहां से प्रधानमंत्री जब पहुंचे हुए हैं, तो आसियान देशों के साथ में संपर्क को कैसे आगे बढ़ाने की एक स्थिति यहां पर बढ़ती नजर आएगी। तो निश्चित तौर से ये बेहद महत्वपूर्ण है, छोटा कम समय के लिए लेकिन बेहद महत्वपूर्ण दौरा है प्रधानमंत्री मोदी का, जो ये जताने के लिए काफी है कि भारत कैसे आसियान देशों के साथ में शिखर सम्मेलन के माध्यम से आगे बढ़ता नजर आ रहा है। और प्रधानमंत्री ने यहाँ पे संभवतः अपने हस्ताक्षर किए हैं, कुछ अपनी भावनाओं को इंगित किया होगा। निश्चित तौर से एक विजिटर की तरीके से जब कोई व्यक्ति किसी देश में पहुंचता है तो अपनी भावनाओं को भी जाहिर करता है। संभवतः ये वो तस्वीरें थी। और रेड
Well, those live pictures that have been coming in of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as he's also been interacting and welcoming, has been welcomed by the Indonesian President Joko Widodo, as those pictures that have been coming in, and shortly the meeting, the summit that will begin.
Well, you just saw how Prime Minister was accorded a warm welcome in Indonesia, and this is the beginning of India's strategic partnership with the Indonesia and ASEAN countries. Now, this is another push by India that PM Modi is making in the South Asian region, as the dominance in the geopolitical region is also increasing of the South Asian countries. Now, this you saw how Prime Minister was accorded a warm welcome. Not just this, but for more on this, we have Rishabh also on the phone line. Rishabh, this is the beginning of the ASEAN summit right now. Can you share the more details that we have?
Definitely, what we are seeing on our screens is the beginning of India-ASEAN summit. And this is a very, very special summit for India as well as ASEAN, where ASEAN plus India sit down and discuss issues of mutual cooperation, mutual interest. And remember, this meeting is happening at the time when China has come up with a standard map that is not only eats into Indian territory, but even many of these East Asian countries are worried and actually upset over the new standard map of China, and that this meeting becomes very, very important, given that many of these countries from ASEAN itself have come forward and openly criticized the map that China has released. So that is definitely going to be discussed in this issue. Apart from that, the dominance that China is trying to pressurize on these countries, that is going to be discussed as well. India's Act East policy. Right,
Rishabh, as you pointed out, that China's dominance is also increasing in the region, and we have often seen that Cambodia, who is a South Asian country, is often accused of kowtowing to China. Do we see any resolution or talks being held in this summit against China?
Definitely, if you talk about the Indo-Pacific, and only yesterday we have seen that how India in UNSC as well, without naming China, has slammed China for doing things that are not in accordance with law or good for global good. And in East Asia also, India has been very vocal about the unchecked dominance that China wants. And and that's the reason that India's Act East policy is centered around a free and fair Indo-Pacific. And be it Indonesia, Japan, Philippines, Vietnam, all these countries do support India in its endeavor to have a free and fair and open Indo-Pacific, and that inclusive Indo-Pacific is what these countries discuss. And whenever we discuss inclusive, free, open Indo-Pacific, that is something that is not liked by China as well.
Right.
And if you see, Chinese Premier is also in Jakarta. He'll be also meeting the ASEAN members. But India-ASEAN summit becomes
well, absolutely.
very, very
Before his
important.
departure, what the Prime Minister had to say that he looks forward to discussing with the ASEAN leaders the future contours of our partnership, which has now entered its 4th decade. Engagement with ASEAN is an important pillar of India's Act East policy, the comprehensive strategic partnership which has entered into its last year and has also injected new dynamism in our ties. This is after the ASEAN-India summit. The Prime Minister will also be attending the 18th East Asia Summit. For the moment, Rishabh, thank you very much for joining in.